Well guys, the 5.0 balance patch was a lot smaller than I think most people were expecting, and I mean a lot. So much so that I think we can cover it here with just a single video. But since every character did receive at least one change, it would still be entirely too much to do a total move-by-move breakdown. We will still give examples, but to fit everything into one video, we're going to break this into a simple winners and losers discussion. For most of the cast though, don't expect much to have changed. I will however start by going over the new mechanic. Much like the wall bounce, Namco decided that the wall push will be only for a single attack for each character rather than a system-wide change. So the normal wall splats very much still exist, just some moves are changing to this new wall push. They all more or less follow the same pattern by giving significant plus frames when they connect at the wall. There is some variability on when the push happens, since some happen on block, others only on hit. For most characters, this is the only change they received with this patch, hence the reason I said it's a lot smaller than people expected. And the new wall pushes are not new moves, they are merely old moves that have this new property. All that being said, I've included a link to the patch notes in the video description below if you haven't seen it yet and would like to read through it yourself. Okay, so we'll start with the minor winners, by far the largest of our four categories. These are Paul, Law, King, Hwoarang, Ling, Brian, Heihachi, Lily, Dragunov, Alyssa, Claudio, Shaheen, Kazumi, Nina, Lee, Bears, Eddie, Eliza, Miguel, Noctis, Anna, Lei, Marduk, Armor King, Negan, Ganryu, and Zafina. You'll notice I just listed the vast majority of the cast. These characters received changes that either left them better or at least didn't affect them negatively, but overall didn't fundamentally change the character or how good they are. That's not to say their changes won't have an impact, but for most of this list, the only change was that the character received a wall push move. Those with multiple changes, like Eddie or Alyssa, largely received quality of life buffs and very small tweaks to consistency and power. For instance, Anna got a new command for her Rage Drive, which gives her another 15 frame launch option, as well as some tweaks to other moves, but her effectiveness doesn't change a ton because of those. Or if you look at Miguel, they made his Savage Up Forward 3 a counter hit launcher, which is great, but it doesn't leapfrog him into a higher tier. That being said, you'll still find some nice juice in this list. For example, Ganryu's wall push move was unsafe prior, but with the change in frames on block, it's now more or less safe and allows him to keep up pressure at the wall. The overall point though is that if you play any of these characters, don't expect to have to change your playstyle much, if at all, and certainly don't expect your wins to suddenly come easier. If anything, this list actually lends credence to the idea that Namco decided to kill two birds with one stone with this patch. The first is to test their new mechanic, and the second is to rebalance at least one move for each character. So moving on, let's talk about the minor losers. As you might expect, this category is the exact opposite of our winners. These are characters that are left worse off from the patch, but not by a huge margin. They are Kazuya, Fang, Raven, Bob, and Akuma. Kazuya is easy because all he lost was the knockdown on while standing 1+2. It sucks, but Kazuya is still Kazuya, and having that knockdown was pretty stupid to begin with. Fang took a few small similar hits, but nothing that's going to break him, just some reversal of his power creep from the last time he was buffed. Akuma and Bob both lost powerful properties on a move. Akuma's Demon Flip 3 no longer counter hit launches, nor does the second hit of Bob's Up Forward 1+2 4. For Bob, that move is also now his wall push, so no more wall splat on it either. Those things definitely suck to lose, but these are not unfair nerfs. For instance, if you thought Akuma was the best in the game before, then you should still think that. Raven is honestly borderline because she got a few mild damage nerfs, but her back turn 1+2 and her back 2 no longer knock down. Back turn 1+2 took a damage nerf as well. So Namco really went hard at back turn 1+2, which is going to suck for Maven players because that move is pretty important. I'm not convinced yet that losing it will cause her significant problems, but it's possible that that change could turn her into a big loser. I have to see some tournament evidence to make that call, but she's a loser in the patch either way. Okay, back to the fun stuff, the big winners. Although these characters will still play more or less the same, unlike the minor winners, these characters received enough buffs that it's reasonable to think it could impact their tier placement. They are Yoshi, Jack, Asuka, Leo, Lars, Katarina, Chloe, Josie, and Gygas. Yoshi is really easy to diagnose because his Kin Forward 2 is his wall push, which also boosts its frames in the open field. This move was already a core move, and now it's a monster with a huge boost in block frames. And his forward 1+2 is now a counter hit launcher for big damage. Again, both of these moves were already primary tools for Yoshi, so making them better helps him a ton. If you ask Yoshi players, he's significantly better as a result. Jack, Asuka, Leo, Katarina, Josie, and Gygas all received an assortment of really good frame improvements and new counter hit juice. Some of the more notable ones, Jack's while standing 1 gives a better combo now, and the second hit of down forward 1-1 counter hit launches. Asuka has a faster down back 3, some more damage on a few things, and her 2+3 now gives a full launch if it successfully parries something.
For Katarina, in addition to full crouch down forward 4 being safer and down back 3 being faster, her down forward 1, down forward 1-1, and while standing 1-1 are back to their former glory in terms of block and hit frames.
Gygas' while standing 1 gives a big stun on counter hit in addition to better frames on a few other moves. Josie's forward 4-3 gives way more reward on hit, especially if the second one is counter hit, and her down 4 got a damage boost and a big frame boost on counter hit. And Leo's down forward 2 now launches crouchers in addition to several frame buffs on other moves. Finally, Chloe, who stands out a little bit because her changes feel above and beyond. If you thought Chloe was annoying before, this patch is really going to break your heart. Bunch of damage buffs with down 3+4, sidestep 3, and new counter hit stuns from counter hit back 3 and counter hit full crouch down forward 2. Frame buffs as well on counter hit standing 3, blocked running 3, and blocked full crouch down forward 1. The standing 3 buff is significant since that makes it so much easier to confirm the counter hit follow-up launcher. Back turn down 3+4 is also faster, but the biggest frame buff is her Cali roll, the last hit of which is now her wall push on block. As a result, it got a big boost in block frames in the open as well. This really forces her opponents to do something to counter that before it comes out, be it interrupting or stepping, but as it always has, expect it to catch people at weird times. So now rather than being safe, it's just an outright pressure tool. Have fun against that. Regardless, you'll definitely notice Chloe being a bigger pain in the ass than normal. And now Schadenfreude for our finale. The big losers can be broken into 2 subcategories. The first are characters that didn't get many nerfs, but the nerfs happen to key moves and you will notice the change. These are Jin, Steve, DJ, Geese, and Julia. For all of them, their wall push move made a good move worse. This would be Jin's while standing 3, which is also his crouch dash 3, DJ's up forward 4, Steve's peekaboo down forward 1-2, Goose's down forward 2, and Julia's while standing 3. All of these had a knockdown, wall splat, or counter hit launch property, and those are now gone. DJ, Goose, and Julia stand out slightly because they also received additional nerfs, DJ to his forward 1+2 on block and his back 2-1 up forward wall combo, Goose to his counter hit sidestep 3, back 1+2, and mid reversal, and then Julia lost a few things, no more counter hit launch on CES 4, damage nerfs on forward 3 and up forward 3+4, weaker Oki on bow and arrow due to the stronger pushback, and weaker wall carry on forward 4-1. Overall, these characters probably won't move on the tier list much, but again, it'll be hard not to feel those changes. The second category, however, definitely involves downward tier movement. These final 4 are Leroy, Fakamram, Kuni, and Lydia. They all got a bunch of changes and all bad. So many things changed that I'm not even going to try to go through them and might even make separate videos for them, but luckily we can summarize them pretty easily because Namco essentially decided to slaughter these characters' frames and the reward they get on a bunch of key moves. Fakamram, for instance, basically lost all of his good counter hit stuff and got a lot riskier due to block frame nerfs. He and Lydia definitely got it the worst, so much so that you can make a convincing argument that both are now solidly mid-tier, which is a big drop for them both. And while Leroy and Kuni might have gotten hit less hard, they too got riskier and have less reward on a bunch of key moves. For whatever reason, Namco thought it was time to pummel the newer DLC characters into submission. And that, my friends, is where we will end this video. Apologies if I happen to miss a character or some specific change. Again, this was just a summary video. If anything needs updating, I can always swing back and make a correction post. That said, as I mentioned in my channel update video, I'm stepping back from doing big guides, which take considerable time to put together, so I apologize for not doing a full move-by-move breakdown for this patch. However, we can all kind of see the end for T7, and it seems unlikely we'll get another patch. With so few changes, it doesn't feel entirely necessary to go hard on this one. I will be updating the written guides, but that'll take some time as I have to chip away at that as time allows, but expect all of those to be updated in the next couple weeks or so. Otherwise, as I also mentioned in the channel update, you can catch me streaming a bit more now. I'll probably try to stream for a little bit, at least once a week. I'll also try to nab some clips of neat leak patch 5.0 stuff whenever I come across it. Again, it's time for us to all relax a little bit and coast until T8, but I'll still be around. So stay safe and we'll catch you next time.